All right, let's talk about something huge. We're going to dive into a theory called TMOA, or the mechanics of all. And it basically says that for the last 100 years, we might have been looking at all of science in a completely backward way.
So, get this. The theory starts with this wild claim. The error was taxonomic, not mathematical. Now, taxonomic just means it's an error in how we classify things, how we name them. It's suggesting that the biggest problem in physics isn't our math, it's our words, that our whole framework is built on a misunderstanding of what things are.
For a century now, physics has had this split personality. On one side, you've got general relativity. That's Einstein's masterpiece, right? It describes the huge cosmic scale, planets, stars, the whole universe. And then on the other side, you have quantum mechanics, which is just unbelievably good at describing the tiny, microscopic world of atoms and particles. The problem? They do not get along. They speak completely different languages. But what if that conflict was never real? What if it's all just been a giant misunderstanding, a simple naming mismatch? That's what TMOA suggests. It's not trying to throw out these amazing theories. Instead, it's offering a kind of translation guide to show that they were actually talking about the very same thing all along.
And that translation, that whole key to unlocking this, is built on one incredibly simple, almost shockingly simple idea. It's all just one wave moving through one medium.
So here it is, the central claim of TMOA. Everything, and I mean everything, matter, light, gravity, you, me, all of it, is just a wave moving through a single universal medium. The easiest way to picture it is to think of a pond. All the different things we see in the universe aren't actually different things. They're just different kinds of ripples, different kinds of disturbances in that one pond. Now, this equation, this is basically the Rosetta Stone of the whole theory. On the left, that G mu nu thing, that's the super complex math Einstein used to describe the geometry of spacetime. It's the playbook for gravity. TOA comes along and says, hey, that's not some abstract geometry. It's literally the same thing as the physical properties of a medium, like its density. It's a direct translation from the language of general relativity into the language of simple waves.
Okay, so if we accept that, if we just go with that for a second, how does it change things? Well, it completely retells the biggest stories in physics. Let's look at gravity and quantum mechanics through this new lens. All right, so the old story of gravity, right? Mass tells space-time how to curve, and that curvature tells things how to move. Light is just following the curve. The TMOA version, mass just makes the medium around it a little denser. That's it. And light, it just follows that change in density. It's exactly like how sound waves bend toward colder, denser air. The math works out exactly the same, but the story becomes something you can actually picture.
And then you get to quantum mechanics, which is where things always get weird, right? The old story is that particles exist in this fuzzy cloud of probability called a wave function. And when you look at it, poof, it magically collapses into one single reality. TMOA says, no. The wave function is a real physical wave. And what we call collapse, that's just what a real detailed wave looks like when a big, clumsy instrument like ours tries to measure it. The weirdness just evaporates. It's not magic, it's just a matter of perspective.
But here's where the theory gets truly, truly ambitious. It doesn't just stop with physics. It's aiming for a synthesis of, well, everything. I mean, just look at this table. It's like a proposal for a brand new school curriculum. It says, physics is just the study of how this one wave moves. Chemistry? That's just the study of how these waves resonate together to form stable patterns, which we call molecules. Biology is how those resonant patterns get so complex they start looping back on themselves. Math is just the pure language we use to describe the wave structure. And my favorite? Music? Music is literally the physics of that wave made audible. The implication here is just staggering. It means the walls we've built up between all these subjects, physics, chemistry, biology, they're not real. They're totally artificial. It's all the same subject, just viewed at different magnifications, different zoom levels. So at the end of the day, what does this all add up to? It's a completely new narrative for science. One single wave telling one single story. And this quote from a theory's author just hits the nail on the head. The student who learns this way never asks, how do we reconcile quantum mechanics and gravity? The question does not arise. They were always the same wave. Think about that. It's just the biggest paradoxes in science aren't problems to be solved. They're questions that we're asking the wrong way. With this reframing, they just disappear. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What actually changes when we stop seeing the universe as a bunch of fragmented, separate subjects and start seeing it as a single, unified wave, just telling its story at countless different scales? What new things might we discover?